was in a car accident in February with my older sister, and we were taken over to Stanford Hospital. I was taken over to Stanford Hospital, and I stayed there for 4 months and stuff, and then I went back for a couple months later for some other surgeries, and I had 9 major surgeries, and I got a lot of blood. And so to receive blood, I had to be poked with a needle. And so, for me to not be afraid, I would just try to close my eyes really tight and just kind of think of how it was going to help me. And I know that when my parents or someone who's old enough to give blood or giving blood, then they're probably thinking about how much it'll help someone save a life. And I never knew how much giving blood was so important until I actually experienced being given blood.
There are only 4 steps to donating blood, and the whole process can be as short as 30 to 45 minutes. The first step is registration. After reading pamphlets on donating blood, you have to fill out registration forms. Then step 2 is giving a medical history. A confidential meeting is held with a medical screener where you will be asked about your health history. This includes a quick physical that includes blood pressure, temperature, and blood iron level measurements.
Okay, so at this point, I already know what vein I'm going to use, so now I'm going to disinfect the area I'm going to do the venipuncture at. Iodine, 30 seconds scrub, kills all the bacteria, makes the blood nice and safe for patients. This is the collection bag. I'm going to collect 450 milliliters of whole blood, or 1 pint of blood. Every donor gives the same amount. We use these digital scales to weigh the blood, so you know exactly how much we're collecting. The scale also rocks back and forth, so her blood is going to mix with the anticoagulant that's in the bag. Keeps it from clotting.
How much does donating blood actually hurt?
Oh, it hurts. I mean, look, it's still a needle. It hurts a little bit. You just feel a little bit of a sting as they put the needle in. That's it.
The person who actually did the same.
I don't personally think donating blood hurts really at all. I think it's just like any time you get an IV or a blood draw, there's an initial small little prick, and then after that you just kind of sit there and you hang out for a while, watch TV while you wait for the process to finish.
The first thing that fills is this little pouch right here. I'm going to use the blood that's in this pouch to fill her infectious disease testing tubes. It takes about 30 seconds or so for it to fill. Once it's done.
I think a lot of people have the wrong idea about blood donations in terms of getting infections from blood donations. There are people who are recipients of blood who are worried about infection from blood donations, but they have learned to screen for so many things now that the chance of that happening is very, very low, and the chance of that happening to anyone who gives blood is practically non-existent.
Every unit of blood we collect has the same set of testing. So we test for HIV, hepatitis B and C, syphilis, West Nile virus, Chagas disease. We do blood typing. We also test for a virus called cytomegalovirus, which is a flu-like virus that affects about half the population. It's harmful to healthy adults, but people with compromised immune systems, cancer patients, AIDS patients, premature babies, very harmful. So people who are CMV negative, we use their blood for those immunocompromised patients. Okay, when it's done, the scale beeps, lets us know it's time to be done. Flame bomb.
What I would like to do then is get the
So, our finished process unit, right here, all wrapped up. It's going to go into the cooler here. In a couple hours, this cooler will go to our lab. They'll do all the infectious disease testing and separate into its components, and different patients get different components. drainage on for 4 hours. Keep it cool and dry. Drink a lot of water over the next few days. For 24 hours of both strenuous exercise, heavy lifting, and density. Still on the go?
Yes. This is the fun part, to eat.
Okay, all donors stay for 15 minutes after they're done. We write their time on their cups. We're encouraged to drink lots of fluid, juice, have some treats. And when they're feeling well and 15 minutes is up, they get to go.
When I was 19 years old, I was spending a semester in Ashland, Oregon, and started noticing that I was swelling. So I went to the doctor and found out that I had kidney issues, which later developed into a rare and life-threatening blood disease where I needed almost 1,000 units of blood in 3 months. Most people who receive blood never know that they're going to need it. And so when you're sick and in the hospital or hurt and the blood just comes to you, you never think about who it comes from. But it's really neat to know that people are donating all the time and that their blood goes to people who really need it.
In Cape Coast, Ghana, a woman with a disease like Megan's would have had a very slim chance of surviving due to a shortage of blood in the blood bank.
We do have shortage of blood in the country because I think the education has not gone down well, so people feel reluctant to donate blood. People feel like donating blood when there is an emergency situation, when their relatives or their friends are in need of blood before they come over to the blood bank to donate. When you tell them to donate blood, they feel reluctant. So we need to do more education to encourage people to donate blood. It's very safe because all the instruments that we use, we do not reuse them. We use them in single use only, so it's ever so safe.
So I took care of a 3-year-old child who had a hemoglobin of 3, which for somebody with a normal hemoglobin, somebody in the United States, that could be deadly in and of itself. But they had a rather rare blood type, and we were not able to get blood donation for this child for multiple days because of the blood donation system. Because there wasn't enough O-negative blood to give to this child. So I think that child could have been turned around and had a much better outcome if we'd been able to get that blood to that child sooner.
We are encouraging people to come over to the blood bank to donate blood because day in, day out, people are in need of blood. People are dying because of blood. So we encourage people to come over to the blood bank voluntarily to donate blood to save lives.
There are cases or situations in life where people will need blood to survive. I've been telling my friends, when I had my severe malaria, if the first unit of blood hadn't come, I wouldn't be sitting here today. So blood is very, very necessary.
I donated to save lives because always people are in need of blood. People are dying because of blood. So I felt there's a need for us to donate blood to save lives.
I think it is very imperative that we share blood to help one another because one of the things that strike me funny, somebody says, can you tell a white person's blood from black person's blood? I said, no, you can't tell it.
We've saved a lot of lives with blood with anemic children at the hospital.
But a couple of years ago, Dr. Adam, who was a member of the Takings team, International Healthcare Volunteers, he was performing an operation in Tibetan and they needed type O blood, but then unfortunately there was no type O blood at the bank, blood bank. And Dr. Adam himself gave his blood to save the patient.
For me, giving blood, I have O-negative blood, so my blood is actually what's considered the universal donor. So anybody can take my blood, no matter what blood type you are. So ever since I was a child, knowing that I was O-negative and being told that I have the type of blood that anybody can take, I've always felt a great responsibility to giving blood. And always did, even when I was younger and I was of age that I was able to do it. As far as my most recent donations have all been here in Africa for a number of reasons. Number one, because there are times when it's needed acutely. And because I'm a universal donor, I can pretty much be assured I can give to almost anybody.
I mean, I probably have patients all the time in the emergency department, probably several times a month, who need blood in order to survive. that they come in having lost a lot of blood, and we're not able to resuscitate them and get them in a position where they're stable without giving them blood. There's just nothing, as much as science has had a lot of inventions over the years, we've still yet to be able to create synthetic blood that can carry oxygen in the way blood can. So sometimes it is what is needed to save somebody's life.
I just think that I'm realizing how dire a need there is, especially in countries like this, like Ghana, where people just don't voluntarily donate blood for people they don't even know. It's very important that people donate blood so that other people can benefit from it.
There's quite a few people, especially in the emergency room, we get a lot of trauma. So people that come in from traumatic injury sometimes can take 20, 30 more units of blood in order to get them stabilized. And that's 20 or 30 people that needed to donate just for that one individual.
I encourage people who are hesitant to donate blood to think about donating blood, because chances are someone that you know and are close with will need blood in your lifetime. They say 1 in 5 people need blood, and that will end up being your mother, your father, your sister, your cousin, your boyfriend, anybody. And if it hasn't come close to you yet, it will eventually, so give it a try and see what happens.
There's a lot of people out in the world, and they say that like blood is rare, but it's not really rare because there's like trillions of people out there who can just give blood, but a lot of them are kind of afraid to because of the needle stick, but it's not really that bad, and it'll just be over, like I said.